Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bridewell for this first rehearsed reading of Magic in Ravenswood. With one writer, Nigel Osner, one composer, Brenda Cooper, a musician, Stuart Curtis, a musical director, Dan Schaefer, 9 actors, Cheryl Kennedy, Toni Palmer, Pinky Baker, Tom Fletcher, Dick Jordan, Ian Lavender, Craig Dickles, Nigel Osner, heard that name before, and Derek Smith. 2 weekends together to become familiar with the script and the songs. Here we are, just for you. The first act lasts about 50 minutes. We'll give you a short interval. The bar is open. If you want something, you have to pay for that one. Then there'll be a 45-minute, just less than 45-minute second act. And we invite you to stay there and have some tea, coffee, biscuits, talk to the actors if you'd like to, after the whole performance. We hope you have a great time. We've had a good time putting it together. So, welcome to all of you, and here we are. Music, Magic in Ravenswood.
I don't mind admitting that I've had a scare. Captured by a cat, there's not much worse than that.
A prince should have a lot of fun in theory.
Can you see this is a time of danger?
It's been a day since anyone has needed my
Not a spell
advice.
worked all day, have my powers gone astray?
I hatched a little plot, I tried a little ploy.
Things are getting frisky, now that's what I've heard. A lot of funny goings on have suddenly occurred.
Can you see it's the start of an adventure? Oh, can you see the way ahead is risky?
But all my royal duties are so dreary.
I know I'm just a pigeon, but it isn't fair. Am I charging far too much? And I think I really can carry out my cunning plan. Do I over? I don't want to die.
If you want me involved, you've just got to say the word.
It doesn't take a lot to trick a lonely boy.
I'm sick of making laws and proclamations.
Yet for me there is a certain
Once we
thing.
can agree a fee, brother on your bird.
Perhaps I'm coming down with flu.
Be a pigeon pie. I only ask for half a stoat. He's rather wet behind the ears, and I roll with shedding tears. It doesn't feel nice.
Dear, oh dear, can I do?
Or giving people fancy decorations. Life is such a puzzle, I really have to say. There are things I must do and there are things I may. I've got a funny feeling, it's difficult to gauge. Am I at a turning point or at an awkward age?
Life is such a puzzle, we really have to say. There are things you should not do, and there are things you may. It isn't always easy knowing how to choose. When one way you're a winner, and one way you will lose.
A long time ago, in a far-off kingdom, in a belfry.
Anyone about? I said, anyone about? Ah! Oh, you aren't a ghost, are you? No, of course I'm not. Stage business. I have to tell you, you don't give a very favourable impression. Oh. Well, so that's the story of my life. One of life's losers, that's what I am. As I can well believe that. Now, what is it you want to say? Well, first, sir, would I be right in thinking that you are Theodosius, the celebrated legal Burberry? To a certain extent, yes. Ah, then I have a message for you. You should know that I live on one of the smaller courtyards of the royal palace. It's situated just near the kitchen, as a matter of fact, and there I eke out a miserable... Never mind about all that. Please, keep to the point. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. All right. I only wanted to put you in the picture. Now, let me at least introduce myself. You must. My name is Percival. Seems a very unlikely name for a pigeon, especially a pigeon. Your description. Now that, if I may say so, sir, shows just how perceptive you are. It is a very unlikely name for a pigeon of my description, but when it comes to names, my mother, bless her soul, was something of an old...
The message, Percival.
If you'd be so good. Oh, well, sir, it so happened that this morning, as is my usual practice, I was wandering through the courtyard when suddenly I was grabbed from behind. I don't mind telling you that it gave me a very nasty turn indeed, as you might well imagine.
Yes, do get on with it.
And what made matters worse was that it was very soon clear to me that I had been grabbed by a cat.
This pigeon can't control his beak.
Oh, but I could see the cat, because I was immediately dragged into a dark cellar. But I could feel those claws digging into my feathers.
At this rate, we'll be here all week.
Do you know I can still feel them now?
I dare say you can. But don't forget that cats are not the only creatures with sharp claws.
Oh, no, indeed, sir, no, of course. So this cat starts to speak to me.
Will nothing stem his flow of words?
And as she speaks, it was clear to me that she did not come from these parts. She had a strange, foreign accent.
How I detest long-winded birds.
She was being only an ignorant bird. I can't be sure where she came from, but were I to hazard a guess...
Don't. I realize you find it difficult to keep to the point, but I really would appreciate if you tried.
Oh, forgive me, sir. I suppose I do wander off.
You wander off, I wish he would.
So this cat says to me, do you know the old church tower?
I'd send him packing if I
On
could.
the other side of town, she said. Know it, I replied. I should say I do. Why? And there, sir, she interrupted me, just as you would have done it, and said, then listen to me, mon ami. That was just how she said it.
But who knows what he has to say?
Go there this evening, just as the sun is setting, and you will give this message to Monsieur Theodosius.
Reluctantly, I'll let him stay.
He lives there in the top of the tower. Now, could he come to the palace tout de suite, as I'm in need of his services most urgently, tell him that it is most important. That's it, sir.
A miracle, he's reached the end, but was there no one else to send?
She said nothing else. Oh, other than to suggest that if I did not remember to come here, it would be the worse for me. Well, here I am, as you see.
Oh yes, I see and I have heard each drawn-out phrase and extra word.
And I would take it most kindly, sir, if you were to tell the cat when you meet her that I came.
Surely, that will hardly be necessary.
No, sir, but it's a sensible precaution.
Yes. Well, unless there is anything else you wish to add. No.
Well, I don't.
No, that's a mistake. Thank you. Well, you may go.
I was rather hoping you might explain what it was all about.
But even if I knew, I couldn't betray the confidence of the client. Should be greatly obliged if you leave.
Are you sure there's nothing else?
At once!
Meanwhile, at the prince's room at the palace.
I'm sick of reading about how to become a better prince. I want to enjoy myself. Ever since Mother and Father have been away, I've been so bored ruling the kingdom, and it will be months before they get back from their quest. It's not fair. I want you to come outside and play football with me.
I'm sorry, Your Highness, but your tutor says you mustn't go outside. He says that the fresh air might do you good.
What?
Yes, we didn't understand that one either.
I'll stay in there. One of you can play chess with me.
Oh, sorry, Your Highness, but I can't play chess. Neither can I, Your Highness.
But what games can you play then?
Monopoly?
What's the point? I own all the property in the kingdom already. At any rate, my father does.
Well, we know lots of other board games.
Board games is the right name for them. I'm bored with them all. Just go away, will you? You're totally useless.
Yes, Your Highness.
Oh, unless you know anything about architecture, I'd like to design a new town hall. The present one looks like a giant veruca.
Sorry, Your Highness.
Then just go away. I know you think I'm a spoilt brat, but you don't understand what it's like being left in charge of the kingdom. Now I have to tell everyone what to do. No one likes them anymore. So why shouldn't I be rude to them? Mind you, I'm always polite to you, Madam Annette. Though, I don't know you like me either. However, I like you, especially because you don't keep saying stupid things to me. But I wish you could talk. I'd love to know what you think of my new tutor. Well, so you find him odd too, do you? I'll tell you something, though. I do find him rather interesting. It's just that I find him a bit startling. What is it?
I'm sorry you find me startling, Your Highness.
I do wish you wouldn't creep in like that, Dr. Bolgin. I think you're the most furtive person I know.
I'm very kind of you to say so. Take a tip from me. Be furtive, be foul, and be fickle, and you'll never go right.
Good heavens! I've never heard that before.
I can see you've got a lot to learn. By the way, what book have you got there?
It's about how one royal family who ruled the same kingdom for 500 years. It's called How to Rule in a Straight Line.
Reading it, Your Highness?
Because I'm still learning how to rule, and I need to improve.
Improve? Ugh. Dear, dear, what a frightening word. Never use it again in front of me.
Don't you want me to improve?
Certainly not. I want you to get worse. It's all far too good as it is.
What did you do that for?
Because it was a nasty thing to do.
No, yes I do.
In that case, you've learned a valuable lesson today. If you're going to do something, make a bad job of it.
Don't you mean make a good job of it?
Of course I don't. You know that already. I'm trying to teach you something new. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much point in me being here, would there?
I suppose not.
Badness to me, I can see it's high time you had your ideas shaken up a bit, Your Highness. What you need to do, in my opinion, is to indulge in a little light wickedness.
But surely that's wrong.
Naturally, it's wrong. That's why I'm suggesting it. Look, my dear boy, you have to try things out in life. See the other side of things. Besides, I'm not suggesting anything too serious. Just a few simple spells.
Spells? You mean magic?
Absolutely.
Oh, really? You don't expect me to believe in magic, do you?
Oh, Your Highness, how could you say such a thing? Not believe in magic indeed. What a remark. I'll pretend I didn't hear it. Magic is the most fantastic thing in the world. You cast a little spell. You say a little charm. Such a very tiny curse. Nothing that you can't reverse. You make an evil smell. You cause a bit of harm. You'll have a most enchanting time. Now is that such a crime? Make something disappear. Nothing too big. Turn that stuff down there into a pig. Turn a giant grieve sour overnight. Just enough to make you dream and whet your appetite. Just enough to make you dream and whet your appetite.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
No, it isn't, but don't worry, we can do a lot worse than that. Isn't it? Well, it should have been. You know, dear boy, you don't just think as clearly as you might. That would explain why you let that witch remain in Ravenswood Forest.
What witch?
Now, surely you've heard of the witch. Do you mean to say that she lives in the forest without your permission?
Well, she must do, mustn't she? If I've never heard of her.
Oh, no, Your Highness, she must not. She must be removed.
But why?
Dear Your Highness, the reason why the witch should be removed is you just can't have witches setting up all over the place without permission. It floods the market. Then there isn't enough work to go around all the other witches who are thereby, if you'll pardon the use of this unpleasant word, right.
Where's there? I've never heard of any witches at all in this area.
Of course you haven't. What's the point of them coming if this one's already here? And besides, your father isn't very happy about this witch.
You've heard from my father, and he isn't happy. In that case, I'll do something about her. I will not have witches setting up in our forest without permission.
Exactly, Your Highness.
But what shall I do exactly?
Well, if I were you, I would go and arrest her and throw her into a cell.
That's a brilliant idea. That will make my father really proud of me.
I didn't care for the sound of that.
That odious little clown. Now perhaps you understand why I sent for you so urgently and asked you to adopt a disguise. It was necessary for you to see and hear for yourself what is going on. Oh, my poor Prince.
Forgive me, madame, but I don't understand how my legal knowledge, severely limited as it is, can possibly be of assistance to you.
It's very simple. I wish to warn the Prince that his tutor is down to no good.
Up to no good. But you must realize it's quite out of the question.
Oh, you lawyers, you always say no to everything.
Madame, you know the rules. We're only permitted to speak to human beings we love when we can help in no other way.
Naturally. I know. That is why I sent for you. I need your advice. There must be some exception.
Alas, no. The prince does need our help, but there must be some other ways to assist him. We'll warn the witch. She'll find a way to bring him to his senses.
Perhaps, but there is still the tutor.
Indeed, there is. I'm deeply troubled by that particular individual. You will no doubt observe what I have observed with no little anxiety.
Certainly, he is a goblin.
Indeed he is. I'm quite shocked by sheer impertinence. So confident is he that nobody recognizes him. He's not even troubled to disguise those most telling parts of his anatomy, his ears and feet. To you and me, madame, they revealed his true character immediately.
I believe he thinks that I admire him. Of course, I might if he showed more style, but naturally I would not approve.
His self-assurance is reflected in the very name he's chosen to adopt. Now, if you reassemble the letters in Bulgarian, they spell goblin.
And his clothes, quelle impertinence!
It took the very words out of my beak. Although it is true that you didn't express them entirely as I have done, it's completely unheard of for a goblin to dress as a wizard. I should like to say that it's merely a sign of declining standards, but I fancy there's a great deal more to it than that. What is clear beyond peradventure is that the king has no idea of Dr. Mulligan's intentions. Indeed, I might go on to say that the king has no idea of Dr. Mulligan's existence.
I am sure of it.
Well, whatever the position, we must be careful. Won't do to underestimate Dr. Mulligan, his most remarkable goblin.
Please, sir, please, madame. No, I meant no harm, believe me. It's just that I have a very curious nature. My mother always warned me that...
Your mother was a very, very wise bird. Lamentably, you're quite the opposite.
Please, your Elship, please, don't let her have me. I can feel those claws. Oh, the horror of those claws is more than any bird should have to bear.
Why were you spying on us?
Spying? Oh, no, what a dreadful idea. I feel faint. I keep on having these visions of pigeon pie.
Oh, pull yourself together. Simply tell the truth quickly and without digressions, and nothing will happen to you.
Well, it was only my curiosity, Your Honour. My mother always used to say to me, Percival, one day your curiosity will be the death of you. Little did she know how right she was. How true that old saying is, sir. Curiosity killed the pigeon.
No, that isn't the saying at all.
Oh, forgive me, I'm only an ignorant...
Yes, I've heard all that before. Now, let me see if I have this correctly. The only reasons you were lurking behind that curtain were ill breeding and an impertinent curiosity.
That's it, sir. Yes, and may I say how beautifully you put it, sir? Oh, it's a marvellous thing, a good education. It's one of my deepest regrets, you know, as I might well imagine them.
Do pigeons have 9 lives?
No.
I thought not. Perhaps then, petit idiot, you would tell us under 9 words how you know Theodosius was here.
Saw him come, followed him in.
How much did you hear?
All.
7 words. I didn't think he could.
This is most unfortunate. I trust that you'll keep silent about what you heard. No, I think in your case that's not a sensible assumption.
Little pigeon.
Pigeon, madame.
Whatever it is, it better not repeat a word of this to anyone. Does it understand?
Yes, it does.
I think it understands.
Quite. Very well, Percival. Please lead us.
Oh, yes. At once.
If I had been here alone, I would not have been so generous.
If I may be permitted to say so, perhaps you were a little over-enthusiastic. Still, maybe your meow is worse than your bite. And now, madame, I must leave you. It is vital that I reach the witch before Prince Tristan.
At the witch's cottage.
always do the trick. Hear it pop, hear it fizz. What a noisy spell it is. But no magic's coming through. There's just one thing for me to do. Throw another rat in the cauldron and give my spell that extra little bite. A dragon's tooth can sometimes fail, but a bat will always see me. Right tonight. What's gone wrong? What a blow! Oh, drat!
I'm much obliged to you. Might I suggest you shut the window, or else you might catch a chill?
Oh, how very considerate of you. Although if I did, I do know a spell which will cure it. At least I think I do. But tell me, my dear, have we ever met before? I'm afraid I don't remember you if we have.
No, madam, I've not had the privilege of making your acquaintance until today. Now, permit me to introduce myself. My name is Theodosius, attorney at law.
Oh, how lovely. And how can I help you?
Oh, it is I, madam, who hope you in some small service to you. I regret to say that His Royal Highness Prince Tristan is on his way here to take you prisoner.
How very exciting. Someone coming to take me prisoner. I shall have to turn him into something.
Are you sure you can? I mean, is that entirely wise? Wouldn't you consider that the better course would be to leave your cottage until it's safe to return?
Run away, dear. Good heavens, no. I shall turn him into, a pig. Yes. Yes. Just enough. Not for long, of course. Just enough to teach him a lesson. Who did you say it was again?
Prince Tristan.
Oh, well, if he's a prince, I shall have to turn him into a frog. It's more tradition.
And I wonder if you should. It's after all a little outside your usual line of business.
Now, my dear, I shall have to take that as a challenge. However, I do admit I can't remember the spell offhand.
Well, forgive me for saying so, but I doubt if you'll have time to find it.
Oh, I don't have to find it. It's on my list of 10 most useful spells, which I keep with me always. Of course, turning princes into frogs has rather gone out of fashion, but once upon a time, hardly a year went by without it happening.
Nevertheless.
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh! Too late, my dear. I read it all first. Besides, it's a self-repeating list, in case I ever lose it. I must say, I'm rather enjoying this.
I'm not. But then I'm not supposed to, am I?
Oh, once you get used to being a frog, I'm told it's quite a pleasant feeling. It's only till you change your mind about taking me prisoner. Now, let me see. Change a prince to a frog. Check up in my catalogue. Oh, my dear, just fancy that. It recommends I use a bat. Throw another bat in the cauldron and try to look imposing or severe. A little stir completes the spell. That's all you have to do to make him disappear. But he's here. What's gone wrong?
No use. Just give up.
Give me time. It'll work. Rather an unfortunate mistake, my dear.
Not for me, it isn't. So how does it feel to be a frog? I bet it's really pleasant. Anyway, you'll soon find out when I take you back to the palace. We've got a nice deep pond in one of the courtyards.
I suppose you wouldn't let me search for the spell which would turn me back again.
Certainly not. I want you safely under lock and key before you have a chance to hop off into the forest and escape.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
What a total failure. Your spells don't even last 5 minutes. What's awful? You're back to normal, aren't you?
No, I'm afraid not, my dear. I've become unstable.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that I'm liable to turn from a witch to a frog.
have to wait until we're there. Right, get hold of her. But be careful, she's likely to change any minute.
To what, Your Highness? A dragon? A monster?
No, a frog.
A frog, Your Highness?
Yes, a frog. She's turned herself into a frog by mistake, and now she's going to keep changing between one and another. That's how dangerous she is.
Overheard by Dr. Bogdan. He's becoming more powerful every day.
The following morning, a courtyard at the palace.
Oh, what a horrible morning.
Oh, what a miserable day.
And I've got a terrible feeling that everything's going my way.
Things are going badly, I'm very pleased to say. Things aren't going right at all, now I've begun to stray. Feeling really awful, but I don't need a nurse.
And we hope tomorrow that he'll be feeling worse.
Things are going badly, I'm very pleased to say. Things that once were good and pure are starting to decay. It's getting so unpleasant, I want to jump for joy. How I long to tell you what I'm planning for that boy.
Things are going badly, I'm really pleased to say. Things are going downhill fast every single day. You're such the finest creature I'll ever come across. It's really such an honour to have you as my boss.
I'm setting out in quite the wrong direction. I'm aiming for a state of imperfection.
He truly has exceptional potential. It won't be long before his best invention. Lovely.
Things are going badly, we're very pleased to say. Things are getting naughty and we hope they stay that way. Things are in a pickle, but please don't think we're sad. We couldn't be more happy that things have gone so bad.
Oh, Madam Minette, at last I'm having some fun. It's wicked. What's the matter? You look as though you disapprove of me.
Monsieur Holmes, I disapprove of nothing except the necessity to talk to you in this gloomy courtyard. But it is probably better here than indoors. As they say, fleurs have ears.
Oh, I think you mean walls have ears. Wow! You just talked to me.
Forgive me, you must try not to state the obvious. It can become very boring.
Yes, but how can you talk to me in English?
I learned it, of course, after I learned Italian, which I much prefer. Such a pretty language.
Look, what I mean is, I didn't know animals could talk at all.
Ah, well, that is because we are not permitted to talk to humans unless they need our help, and there is no other way to assist. Frankly, I do not think we miss very much.
Thanks all the same, but I don't need your help. Anyway, what help can a cat give?
Some advice, perhaps?
On what? How to catch mice? No thanks.
You know, Hans, you are changing,
I should hope I am.
and not for the better.
Great, that's just what I want to happen.
Why?
Why? Because I'm sick of always doing the right thing. That's why.
That's not a very convincing reason.
You know, I was really thrilled that you could talk. But if all you're going to do is lecture me, I'd rather you just kept quiet.
Perhaps you'd like me to go away altogether. You've obviously forgotten all about the politeness of Francis.
Madam Minette, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. You just gave me a shock. But look, you know how fed up I've been carrying out all my royal duties. I thought they were all boring. I didn't understand some of them could be fun. But now I do. It's brilliant, isn't it? That's what Dr. Bolgan is showing me. That must be why my father sent him to me.
I see. Your father wants you to learn how to be bad. Modern parents, they are so advanced.
No, of course he doesn't. Well, yes, he does. Oh, I don't know. He wants me to learn about the other side of things.
Such as what it means to be bad.
Yes, that's it.
Does that mean you also have to be bad? How does it feel?
Not bad. Oh, you know what I'm trying to say anyway. I haven't done anything really bad yet.
You said you would cancel next week's public holiday.
But that was a joke. I just wanted to see everyone's faces.
And why did you increase the taxes?
Well, princes are supposed to be rich.
And what about sacking the Prime Minister this morning?
Yeah, well...
No, don't worry about him. You were quite right to get rid of him. The man was common as Mick.
Oh, Mark. Then what, you see? Nothing too bad.
Don't forget the witch, mon prince.
What about her?
What you did to her was really bad.
No, it wasn't. Oh, I don't know. I'm worried about her. She seemed quite a nice old thing. And I suppose she would be in that unstable condition if it weren't for me.
Worrying won't help her. Let her go. Why not?
How can I? My father would have wanted me to take her prisoner.
If you wish to blame your own actions onto others, then do so. For myself, I will be too proud. And I'm always happy to say I've done something naughty. It makes me seem even more fascinating.
All right. I don't really know what my father would have wanted. I just thought he would have been proud of me if I acted on his behalf. I didn't know the witch was harmless, and I'm sure he didn't either.
Forget about your father. It's up to you.
Well, there is another problem. I don't think Dr. Bolgin would approve of me letting her.
The Palace Dungeons.
Those chambers give me the creeps. Why do they look so like that either?
This place has far too many small, ugly people in it for my liking. It's not at all what I'm used to. Now, I shall keep quiet. They mustn't know I have been allowed to speak to you.
I've changed my mind about the witch. I want to let her out. Please let her out immediately.
Are you sure, Your Highness?
No, I don't think that's what Dr. Bolgin would recommend.
Just do as I say. Why is this cell so dark? I said put her into a cell, but the windows were so close, the bars were so close together, not even a frog could squeeze through. Not put her into a cell with no windows at all. That's cruel.
Well, it is, Your Highness, but we can't take the credit for it.
There was a window here last night. Just don't seem to be here this morning, that's all.
What do you mean? Windows don't simply disappear by themselves.
Oh, yes, they do, my dear, if you make them.
You made it disappear. But why?
Well, I didn't intend to, my dear. I'd actually meant the bars to vanish, but when I repeated the spell, at least what I thought was the spell, the window completely disappeared.
It was a bit risky, wasn't it, trying the spell from memory? After all, look what happened the last time.
You're quite right, of course, but you couldn't expect me not to try, could you? I mean, that would have been to give up without a fight. Oh, as I've only ended up making myself look stupid.
Which you certainly have.
Perhaps I shouldn't have bothered.
Not at all. I think you were very brave to try, and I was wrong to put you in this situation in the first place. I don't suppose you'll be able to forgive me, but please understand, I didn't want you to come into any harm. Anyway, now I've come to release you.
Oh, how very kind of you, and I accept your apologies.
Well, that's very... What's wrong?
Yeah, I'm afraid being furtive again.
I do wish you wouldn't do that.
Wouldn't have to, dear boy, if you paid attention to your tutor. And I thought you were learning how to make the wrong decisions. What can have got into you?
Nothing's got into me. I'm simply releasing the witch.
It's no use being simple. You've got to have intelligence, at least enough intelligence to know that the witch should stay in prison.
You're being cruel to her.
It's no use paying me compliments. She still has to stay in prison.
I say she doesn't.
You can say what you like, but it won't make any difference.
Well, really, this is too much of a good thing.
I suppose you mean too much of a bad thing. I sometimes wonder if you'll ever think clearly. Anyway, whatever you think, it really doesn't matter. Your father wants the witch to be imprisoned, so that's that. She'll have to stay imprisoned.
As my father isn't here, who's to know what he wants? I'm sure he wouldn't allow the witch to be kept in our cells.
You're quite correct. If you're going to let her out, she'll just have to be put somewhere where you can't reach her.
Where's that? I want to be told where that is.
Well, I dare say you do, but you aren't going to be.
Oh my God, a goblin.
Never mind about that. Get rid of her once.
Let her go!
Oh, another one. You do seem to have rather an infestation of goblins.
Yeah, shut her up quickly.
Want to be
Shut her
careful,
up.
you know, they're awfully difficult to get rid of once they get hold of a place. It's quite a specialist job.
Shut her up.
Oh dear.
Now, Your Highness, has a spell for you. That's for a few hours until you cool down and the witch is safely on her way.
You're joking. I'm not going in there.
Oh, yes you are, Your Highness, if you get my point. If you don't, she certainly will.
You'll be let out this evening. I should use the time to remember all the lessons you've been taught if I were you.
This is intolerable. Prince, how could you bring me into this filthy place? You should have told me to go away.
I'm awfully sorry. I wasn't thinking.
Exactement.
Things are going badly. I'm very sad to say. Things are really in a mess, but I'll make that goblin pay. I know I've been behaving just like a spoiled rat. That's why we're in prison, and you're an angry cat.
12 hours later.
What a mess. Never mind. I'm going to find a way to do something about it.
What? Do what?
Yes, all right. I know you're still annoyed.
Annoyed? Annoyed? Too many hours in a prison cell. Why, it's quite disgusting, quite appalling. And it's really so demeaning. Every bit of me needs cleaning. I have never felt so shabby, like a common little tabby. Ugh. Don't ask me to face cockroaches and lice. Don't ask me to lie on a cold prison floor. But in the right cause, I'll pay any price. I'll give up my life when I've given up before. Oh, don't you see? There has to be a reason. Oh, don't you see? A gesture must have meaning. Oh, don't you see? I need romance and danger. And that for me, there is no other way. To lose one's life has some style, but to lose one's dignity, c'est impossible. Too many hours in a prison cell. Why, it's so revolting and so galling. Such a place is hardly fitting. How it makes me feel like spitting. Look at me, I'm damp and soggy, like some common little mommy. Ugh. Oh, that I could sink to this. I who died with Cleopatra, poisoned by the same asp. I who was burned at the stake for Jean of Arc, without a moment of regret. Oh, don't you see? There has to be a reason. Oh, don't you see? A gesture must have meaning. Oh, don't you see? I need romance and danger. That for me, there is no other way.
I'm really sorry, Madam Beck. But do you mind if I ask a personal question? Did you lose your third and fourth eyes?
I went to the guillotine with Marie Antoinette. Then I lost a leg with Sarah Bernhardt. And eventually, we both died on stage. Oh, don't you see? There has to be a reason. Oh, don't you see? A gesture must have meaning. Oh, don't you see? I need romance and danger. And that for me, there is no other way. And that for me,
myself entirely at your service.
You don't know anything about town planning, do you? There's something wrong with the position of the high street. Wait a minute. Were you on the mantelpiece yesterday afternoon?
I did indeed take the liberty of positioning myself on the mantelpiece.
I wondered where you'd come from, and then I wondered where you'd gone.
This was not a course which would normally have recommended itself to me, but unhappy circumstances seem to suggest an unusual approach. May I be permitted to inquire what has happened to the witch?
I tried to set her free, but Dr. Bolgin put us in his cell for the last 12 hours. He's taken her away.
Qui sait? That's not an outcome which gives me a great deal of satisfaction.
Well, I'd say it was disastrous.
Forgive me, Your Highness, but I think that is an unnecessarily gloomy view on the available evidence. I should prefer to say that a number of difficulties have presented themselves, and we must surmount them. The time may come when your view proves to be correct, in which case I shall advise you accordingly.
Thanks. Dr. Bolgin!
Is it too much to hope that you'll decide in the foreseeable future whether or not you intend to enter this room?
Well, say, it's like this. I would like to come in. In fact, I would like to come in very much. There is, though, if I may respectfully point out, a slight problem. If I can put in a word, sir.
Which is doubtful.
My mother always used to say to me, Percival, don't go looking for trouble. It'll find you for itself. Now, that's a piece of advice which I treasure. I cannot say that I always act on it, but I treasure it. Especially at moments like these.
I do wish we come to the point.
Claws, sir. That is the point.
Claude. Now, what are you talking about?
Oh, monsieur, I think he is referring to moi.
Look, if you want to come in, come in. No one's going to harm you.
Oh, in view of those very kind sentiments, Your Highness, it would be discourteous of me not to enter.
Now that you have more or less decided to join us, perhaps you would care to enlighten us as to the reason for your visit. I take it that none of us is in a hurry to leave.
Not at all. I shall be fascinated to see our Monsieur Percival can explain his presence here for the second night in succession. Be assured, mon prince, that if his explanation is not convincing, there will be no chance of a third visit.
All right, calm down, Percival. I'm sure Madame Annette doesn't mean it. Just tell us why you've come.
Well, Your Highness, you will not be aware of this, of course, but I live in one of the smaller courtyards of your palace. It's a difficult life, Your Highness. I cannot begin to tell you.
Then don't.
Well, I wasn't going to, Your Honour. Now, this morning, while taking a stroll, I observed Your Highness and her ladyship there in conversation.
You did not simply observe us, you listened to every word we said.
Well, that is true. Did you realise there was another close by also listening to every word you said?
Obviously not, for if I had, he would not have been listening for very long. Who was this eavesdropper?
It was, in short, a raven. And I don't mind telling you that I didn't like the look of that raven one little bit. That's a bad one, I say to myself, as soon as I set my eyes on him. And so when Your Highness and your ladyship left, I decided to keep near that raven, which I truly did. I heard him report to a small person with large ears, big feet, and a tall hat.
Dr. Bolgin. So that's why he suddenly appeared in the cell.
I witnessed that dreadful moment, having by then decided to follow this Dr. Bolgin. To say that I was shocked at what I saw would be an understatement. I was overwhelmed. I don't think words exist which could convey the full extent of my feelings.
If they do exist, you'll be the first to find them.
Oh, I take that as a very great compliment, sir. Coming from an educated gent such as yourself. But if I may resume the thread of my narrative...
Don't let me stop you.
No, I won't. Having witnessed this appalling episode, I returned to the courtyard.
Good idea, go back to the courtyard now before I give up my fifth life out of sheer boredom.
One moment, Your Ladyship, if you'll be so good. It was there that this Dr. Bolgin calls out for the guards, not for ordinary guards. No, but a whole squad of strange small guards, all bearing a strange resemblance to Dr. Bolgin. So off they go on horseback. Dr. Bolgin, the poor old witch, out through the palace gates. It was very soon plain to me that they were heading for Ravenswood Forest.
You followed them?
Well, wouldn't you have done?
Then you must know where the witch is being held and how she is.
Well, all I can say...
If only that were true.
All I can say is, she had come to no harm when I last saw her. As to where she is, well, if you'll bear with me, I'll tell you exactly. Well, once inside the forest, they all headed westwards, and I followed closely, though I really don't know how I dared. I've done some very risky it. Now I don't mind admitting, but this surely was the riskiest, and I was truly scared. Mile after mile, they went deep into the forest. It's amazing I kept up with them, because I'm not very fit. I'm not in good condition, this I hardly need to tell you. And I poured my way to drop off, but I wouldn't quit. Then at last they reached a castle in the middle of the forest. In all my life I've never seen a more forbidding sight. Lots of gloomy turrets with narrow little windows, and through the narrow window shone a green and friendly light. They rode across the drawbridge that will polish short behind them, and the most unpleasant clang that I have ever heard. Then I flew back to the palace, though I don't know how I managed it, for never have you come across more exhausted kitchen. No! Sorry, no, wrong word. I was doing so well, wasn't I? Oh, no, don't go away. Stay there. I'll be with you in a moment. Yes, nice night, isn't it? Fresh, bracing, yes. Yes, for never have you come across a more exhausted cat. No! Not cat. No. Oh, madam. Just a moment. Yes, for never have you come across a more exhausted bird.
The curiosity of this pigeon has proved to be useful. I think we must all be grateful.
Percival, you deserve a medal. I've heard about the castle in the forest. It was used by members of my family a long time ago, until they moved to this palace. I'll find my way there somehow, and I'll do my best to rescue the witch. I don't know how, but I'll try.
Oh, c'est impossible. It's not at all the time of year for adventures outside at night. Tomorrow morning will be quite sufficient.
I'm not asking you to come with me. I'm not asking anyone to come with me. It's my fault the witch is in trouble, so it's up to me to get her out of it.
Oh, a grand gesture. I always admire grand gestures, although they usually cause trouble for someone. In this case, moi. I will naturally accompany you at considerable inconvenience, I need hardly add. Oh, well, I shall just have to grin and be a bear.
Do you mean grin and bear it?
I mean what I mean.
Now, may I suggest that I visit the castle first, both to satisfy myself which is still there, and also to establish the strength and nature of the opposition we may encounter. I will then meet you at the witch's cottage, and we will discuss a future plan of action.
I agree. But just a minute, there's something I forgot. How do we get out of the palace without anyone seeing us? The palace is swarming with goblin guards. They'll never let us leave.
You will leave by the main gate. How else would a prince leave?
But how?
One moment, Your Highness. Percival, you will remain here in the palace. If none of us has returned by tomorrow evening, you will go for help to my cousin Aristotle, who lives in the first barn you come to on the road to the forest. He's a trifle rustic, but he's not without intelligence. In the meantime, be so kind as to keep watch outside in case Mr. Ongen returns.
You can put your trust in me. Sorry. Sorry.
I suppose he'll do his best, if best is ever the appropriate word to use in connection with that unfortunate pigeon. And now, Your Highness, your escape. What I propose is this.
I don't like it here. We should be back in our caves, deep in the heart of the mountains, where everyone has normal-sized feet and ears.
I really hate little ears. Hey, who's that? Oh, let's praise the moon in June and use attractive vows. Some prefer a harvest moon, it's the choice of other vows. But the only moon which I admire is the November moon for ours.
Oh, it's really nice, so beautiful.
The full moon's favoured by the wolf, it is to this he howls. The cat likes any moon at all, it helps him when he prowls. But the only moon which I admire is the November moon for owls.
waits to see the moon, and when it beams he scowls. Misers treasure silver moons, and greet the rest with growls. But the only moon which I